The edge of the Galactic Empire was supposed to be quiet. Ships patrolled the outer systems in routine patterns, scanning for smugglers, pirates, or rogue fleets. The Imperial starbases sent regular reports of their patrols, but nothing unusual had happened for weeks. It was ordinary, predictable, and safe. At least that's what the Empire commanders thought. High above the gas giant Xylaris, in a dark sector where the stars seemed farther apart, the calm shattered. Imperial sensors blinked, alarms rang, and a single line of text appeared across the holographic display in the command center. Unknown ship detected. Human technology signature. Human technology? In this part of the galaxy? Admiral Corrin leaned forward in his chair, squinting at the readings. He was a tall man with silver hair and a reputation for quick decisions in battle. His fingers tapped nervously on the console. Impossible, he muttered. Humans are primitive. They couldn't even reach this system in that time. But the readings were clear. The ship was fast, sleek, and incredibly well shielded. Its energy signature was unlike anything the Empire had encountered. Imperial engineers stared at the reports, mouths open. Every system they used to track and compare ships confirmed the same conclusion. A human warship had entered Imperial space. "Sir," said Lieutenant Raal, one of the younger officers, "it's coming closer. Sensors show it's traveling at sublight speed but moving like nothing we've ever seen. Its shield output, it's off the charts. Weapons are advanced." Corrin rubbed his temples. "We need to intercept immediately. Send out the squadrons. All units. This is unprecedented." Within minutes, multiple Imperial fighters and cruisers assembled around the anomaly. Pilots strapped in, ready for combat, but a strange unease spread through them. No one had ever faced a human warship in the Empire's history. Humans were considered backward. Their ships were supposed to be slow, fragile, and unreliable. Yet this ship defied everything they thought they knew. Meanwhile, aboard the human warship, Captain Elena Mercer observed the Imperial fleet with quiet amusement. The vessel, intrepid, glided through space as if it were part of a dance. Its hull was polished silver, reflecting distant starlight, and it moved with a smooth, confident grace. "Elena, they're surrounding us," said Lieutenant Rin, the ship's tactical officer. His voice was calm, but a hint of excitement threaded through it. "Scanners show multiple cruisers and squadrons closing in. They're ready to attack." Elena smiled faintly. "Let them. Humans have always been underestimated. We'll show them exactly why that's a mistake." The human crew went about their duties with practiced precision. Engineers adjusted power flows to the shields, boosting energy output without overloading the systems. Weapons officers prepared defensive maneuvers, not aggressive ones. Elena believed in restraint. Humans were strong, but their power was meant to protect, not to destroy needlessly. The first Imperial cruiser moved in closer, its engines roaring through space. Holo displays in the Imperial command center showed its scanners attempting to penetrate the human ship's shields. Every attempt failed. Lasers, missiles, and energy pulses bounced harmlessly off the Intrepid. The Empire officers exchanged uneasy glances. "Report," shouted Admiral Corrin. "Shields at full capacity," the officer replied. "No effect from our weapons. Hull integrity is stable. The ship is absorbing and redirecting energy." Corrin's jaw tightened. "Impossible. There is no technology that can withstand our standard weaponry like this. They must have had help from—" "Sir, the ship is responding," interrupted Raal. On the holo display, the human vessel had rotated slightly, its shields flashing in controlled pulses. Then, without warning, the energy from the Imperial weapons was neutralized, harmlessly dispersing into space. Corrin leaned back, stunned. "By the ancients, how?" Back on the Intrepid, Elena looked at her crew. "Remember, this is a test. They expect us to panic, to fight recklessly. We don't. We show them humans can be calm, intelligent, and in control." The human ship projected a signal toward the Empire fleet. The message was simple, clear, and broadcast in the universal language of diplomacy. "We come in peace. Do not attack. We seek only communication and understanding." The Empire officers froze. The Aowan thought of a human speaking directly, offering peace while outmatching their technology was disconcerting. Some saw it as a trick. Others felt something unfamiliar. Respect. Lieutenant Ryal turned to Corin. Sir, they're not firing. They're not evasive either. It's deliberate. They want to communicate. Corin rubbed his forehead. Prepare a response. Open a channel, but maintain defensive positions. I want every fleet ready in case this human makes a move. A calm, measured voice then echoed through the Imperial Communications Network. Greetings, leaders of the Galactic Empire. My name is Captain Elena Mercer of the human ship Intrepid. We have traveled far and encountered your patrols in your outer system. We are explorers and protectors of trade routes. We mean no harm. The Apier Admiral stared at the screen. No one on the bridge had expected such clarity, such confidence. The humans were polite, respectful, and commanding all at once. Show them our capabilities, Elena instructed her officers. Nothing destructive, just enough to prove humans are not to be underestimated. In a coordinated display, the Intrepid rotated and extended its shields, creating a shimmering barrier that reflected the Empire's scanners like a mirror. At the same time, it released a pulse of energy that powered up a disabled Imperial scout ship at the edge of the formation. The human crew remotely repaired the damaged vessel, restoring it to full function in seconds. Gasps echoed across the Imperial command center. Engineers whispered among themselves. Pilots blinked, unsure if what they saw was real. One of the young officers finally murmured, They repaired our ship without touching it. Attention all units, Karan commanded, voice tight. Keep formation. Do not engage. I want more data, more information, but be prepared for combat, if necessary. Elena turned to her crew. They will test us again. They will think we are bluffing. But humans have always faced impossible odds before, and we have always found a way. Stay calm, stay sharp, and show them who we are. As the fleets hovered in tense silence, the humans' calm presence contrasted sharply with the Empire's panic. No one expected humans to act with such precision, intelligence, and restraint. Already rumors began spreading among the Imperial officers. Could it be true? Humans are not just survivors. They are exceptional. The outer system's moons reflected the starlight as if witnessing the event. The Intrepid glided past them, without urgency, moving as though it owned the space yet respecting every planet, every satellite. It was a silent message. Humans were strong, disciplined, and in control, but they were not reckless conquerors. The first part of the encounter had ended. The Empire was stunned, unsure whether to attack, negotiate, or retreat. But one thing was clear. The humans were nothing like the Empire had imagined. They were clever, resourceful, and entirely unpredictable. And for the first time in generations, the Empire began to feel something unfamiliar. Fear mixed with respect. Elena Mercer looked at the stars ahead, calm and determined. This is only the beginning, she whispered. The Imperial fleet hovered tens of thousands of kilometers from the human warship, tension thick in the command bridge of the flagship Dread Sovereign. Admiral Corin could feel his pulse quicken, not from fear of dying, but from confusion. Every sensor reading, every calculation told him humans should not be here. They should be weak. Yet here they were, calm, confident, and technologically superior. Sir, Lieutenant Ryal said, glancing nervously at the holographic display. They're not retreating. They're holding their position, almost inviting us closer. Corin frowned. Inviting? Or daring us? We cannot risk a misstep. Across the void, the Intrepid glided like a silver arrow. Its smooth movement seemed effortless, yet every adjustment to its shields and engines was precise, calculated. Captain Elena Mercer watched the Empire's fleet carefully. She understood their panic, their assumptions, but she also knew that humans had always excelled in moments like this, when no one expected them to succeed. Rin, she said to her tactical officer, Run a full systems analysis of their formations. Show them we can respond without attacking. Lieutenant Rin nodded, fingers flying across his console. Already done, Captain. Their fleet is strong numerically, but their coordination is rigid. They're used to predictable tactics. Then we'll give them a demonstration they won't forget, Elena said calmly. The first Imperial cruiser edged closer, cautious but still radiating authority. A holographic communication channel opened and a voice echoed across the void, stern and commanding. Human ship, identify yourself and state your purpose. You are trespassing in Imperial space. You will be detained until your intentions are verified. Elena's voice was measured, firm. This is Captain Elena Mercer of the human ship Intrepid. We come in peace. Our mission is exploration and protection of trade routes. We intend no conflict with the Empire or its citizens. A murmur ran through the Imperial bridge. The audacity. The humans were not only present in Imperial space, but speaking directly with authority. Sir, Lieutenant Ryle whispered, they sound confident, not afraid at all. Corin rubbed his temples. Yes, that is precisely what is worrying me. The humans did not fire, did not maneuver aggressively. Instead, the Intrepid extended a subtle energy field around its hull, a shimmering shield that refracted the light of distant stars, a show of technological elegance. Then, almost casually, it released a pulse of energy toward one of the Imperial scouts that had been damaged in routine patrols. Within moments, the scout's hull healed, its systems restored. Gasps erupted across the dread sovereign. Engineers whispered in awe. They repaired our ship. Remotely. Corin's voice was cold now, hiding the shock he felt. Maintain positions. Observe. Do not engage. Yet. I want answers before we make a move. The Intrepid continued, its display rotating slowly so every Imperial ship could see the precise coordination of its movements. There was no chaos, no rash action, just calculated efficiency. Elena addressed her crew. Remember, she said, this is not a fight. This is a lesson. They need to see who humans truly are. Stay focused. Protect yourselves, but do not provoke. Show them ingenuity, not aggression. Meanwhile, aboard the Imperial fleet, debates raged. A faction of admirals argued for immediate attack. We cannot allow humans to challenge us in our own space, one officer shouted. They are unknown, dangerous, strike now. Another faction, more cautious, shook their heads. We do not know their capabilities fully. Every system they show is superior. Attacking might be catastrophic. We should attempt communication first. The argument reached a peak, voices raised, tension almost spilling into chaos. Corin slammed his fist on the console. Enough. Maintain formation. Attempt dialogue. But ready all defenses. I will not tolerate failure. If they attack, we will retaliate. But we will not strike blindly. Elena observed the Imperial tension with mild amusement. Humans had always understood the value of composure under pressure. She gave orders with calm precision. Shields optimized, engines primed for evasive maneuvers, scanners feeding real-time updates of the enemy fleet. Captain, Lieutenant, Rin said, they're moving a formation closer. Looks like an attempt to intimidate us. Elena nodded. Let them come. They will find humans are not easily intimidated. The Imperial fleet's forward cruiser fired a warning shot. An energy pulse aimed near the Intrepid, not at it, just close enough to test human reactions. The pulse fizzled harmlessly against the human shields, dispersing into space with no damage. Impressive, muttered Raal. Their shields, they absorb energy, then redirect it without losing integrity. Elena smiled faintly. Exactly. They expect force to succeed. We use strategy instead. That is the difference. On the Imperial command bridge, murmurs of disbelief spread. Pilots, engineers, and officers could not hide their astonishment. Every display of human precision, every act of restraint and ingenuity, undermined centuries of prejudice. Humans were supposed to be weak, disorganized, and primitive. Yet here they were, strong, intelligent, and entirely self-assured. Corin's communicator beeped urgently. One of his aides reported, Sir, the human ship is signaling us again. It's offering assistance if we allow it. They want to help. Repair minor damages in our fleet. Koran leaned back, exhaling slowly. His mind raced. He had never experienced hesitation like this. The humans were demonstrating power without threat, control without cruelty. How could he justify attacking them? Yet the fear in his officer's eyes reminded him of his duty. The Empire must not be humiliated. Open a secure channel, Koran ordered, trying to sound confident. Let's see what these humans want. The human signal appeared, calm and clear. Elena's voice resonated with quiet authority. We understand your caution, she said. Your fleet is strong, but some systems are worn from constant patrol. We can assist with repairs remotely without taking control. This is a gesture of peace. Refuse if you wish, but no humans are capable of both strength and restraint. There was stunned silence aboard the Dread Sovereign. Officers stared at one another, unsure whether to accept the offer or dismiss it as a trick. Some feared a trap, others felt hope, a strange, unfamiliar feeling. Finally, Koran spoke, his voice steady though his mind raced. We accept your assistance. Proceed carefully. The Intrepid responded with a graceful series of maneuvers. Its engineers deployed advanced repair drones, which worked remotely to restore shields, engines, and minor systems across the Imperial fleet. Nothing was stolen, nothing damaged, only improved. The efficiency and speed amazed the Empire's engineers. This is unprecedented, one officer whispered. They are helping us. Yes, Koran said, his jaw tight. Humans are beyond our expectations, Elena observed calmly, satisfied. Lesson 1. Humans are not defined by fear, aggression, or prejudice. We lead with intelligence, not destruction. We gain respect not through dominance, but through ingenuity and ethics. As the repairs finished, the Imperial fleet finally relaxed slightly. The tension remained, but respect was growing alongside uncertainty. For the first time, the Empire faced the undeniable reality. Humans were extraordinary in ways no one had imagined. Koran looked at his fleet, voice low but firm. Prepare to follow them. Observe. Learn. Do not underestimate humans again. And in that moment, a quiet thought spread among both the Imperial officers and the human crew. This encounter was only the beginning. The galaxy had changed, and everyone would soon realize that humans were a force unlike any other, intelligent, brave, and utterly unpredictable. Elena turned to her crew, smiling faintly. We've made our point, but the real test is yet to come. The stars around them seemed The Imperial fleet had recovered slightly from their initial shock. Repairs were complete thanks to the humans, yet unease remained. Admiral Koran stood on the bridge of the Dread Sovereign, staring at the sleek human warship, the Intrepid. Every officer in his command knew the truth. Humans were far stronger and more capable than anyone in the Empire had ever imagined. Sir, said Lieutenant Rayal, pointing at the holographic display, they're moving in a pattern, almost as if they're predicting our next move. Koran narrowed his eyes. Predicting or controlling? Either way, I want every squadron on alert, ready for combat. I will not let them embarrass the Empire. Across the void, Captain Elena, Mercer observed the fleet. The humans were prepared yet calm. No crew member panicked. Every system, every maneuver had been anticipated. Humans had long survived impossible odds on their homeworlds and in interstellar conflicts. They were not reckless, but their minds worked like finely tuned machines, always calculating, always adaptive. Elena, sensors show an aggressive formation. Approaching, said Lieutenant Rin. They're testing us. Perhaps they plan to fire. Elena nodded. Let them try. Humans never panic. We will respond with strategy, not destruction. The first Imperial cruiser broke formation suddenly, charging toward the human vessel. Energy weapons flared, lighting up the void. The humans did not fire. Instead, the Intrepid shifted slightly, its shields expanding, absorbing and redirecting the energy harmlessly. The cruiser's beam dispersed, hitting nothing but empty space. "Unbelievable," muttered Raoul. "They're avoiding damage without returning fire?" Elena smiled faintly. "Exactly. Never underestimate the power of restraint." The Imperial commanders were furious and confused. Their weapons were useless. Every shot, every maneuver was countered by precision and ingenuity. The humans were not simply surviving. They were demonstrating control, intelligence, and dominance without aggression. One of the younger officers, still shaking, whispered, "Sir, they're teaching us a lesson." Corin's voice was tight, full of frustration. "Maintain formation, do not break ranks, observe carefully, we are learning, but we will not be humiliated." Meanwhile, aboard the Intrepid, Elena prepared her crew for the next phase. "We need to show them humans are not just physically capable, but mentally superior as well. Prepare the tactical simulations. Let's demonstrate strategy without casualties." Lieutenant Rin nodded. On the human warship's console, he activated a series of holographic simulations. Enemy ships appeared, and in real time the humans predicted every possible attack vector the Imperial fleet could use. They demonstrated evasive maneuvers, calculated shield adjustments, and coordinated movements. Through the universal communication channel, Elena sent a message. "Observe closely. These are our standard defensive tactics. Humans can respond to any threat with speed, intelligence, and precision." Imperial commanders were stunned. Engineers whispered to one another, unable to hide awe. Pilots, normally confident in their skills, were silently shocked by the humans' flawless execution. One officer finally asked aloud, "Sir, how are they predicting every attack?" Corin took a deep breath. "They are thinking differently, faster, smarter. We cannot respond the same way." Despite the tension, Elena was aware that some in the Empire still did not trust humans. Certain admirals were plotting in secret, convinced that the humans' intentions were a trick, a prelude to a sudden attack. But the humans had anticipated this. They sent a calm, precise demonstration, small, harmless energy pulses that traced the trajectory of every ship, showing how attacks could be neutralized without loss of life or equipment. The Empire watched, tense but unable to act. Every maneuver displayed by the humans emphasized one truth: force alone could not win against ingenuity, calm, and intelligence. Then, as if on cue, the Intrepid executed a coordinated movement that amazed both sides. The ship positioned itself between a dangerous asteroid field and the Imperial fleet, and without firing, it simulated a defense that would protect the fleet from any incoming debris or rogue ship attacks. Imperial officers gasped. The humans had done in minutes what fleets of the Empire would have taken days to calculate. This is impossible," muttered one admiral. "They are controlling the environment, predicting outcomes and protecting us without firing a shot." Elena looked at her crew, proud but calm. Lesson 2. Humans solve problems others cannot, not with brute force, but with ingenuity and foresight. The tension aboard the Dread Sovereign reached its peak when a young officer, clearly fearful, suggested attacking immediately. "Sir, we have the advantage in numbers. Fire now or they will gain the upper hand." Corin shook his head, struggling to keep authority. "Do not fire. Observe. Learn. We are witnessing something unprecedented. We cannot allow our pride to cloud judgment." Across the void, the humans had anticipated this reaction. They sent another demonstration, a holographic projection showing the Empire's own fleet in a hypothetical battle. The simulation highlighted every weakness and mistake the Empire might make if it attacked recklessly. Imperial commanders were forced to admit silently that humans thought ahead in ways they could not match. Lieutenant Raoul leaned close to Corin, whispering, "Sir, they're showing us our mistakes before we make them, without harming anyone." Corin's jaw tightened. "Yes, and that terrifies me more than their weapons ever could." Then came the turning point. Elena sent a final message across the universal channel. We offer peace and cooperation. Humans are capable of strength, intelligence, and defense. We do not seek conflict, but we will not be underestimated. Choose wisely." The Empire paused. Corran looked at his officers. "We have faced humans and survived without loss, yet they have dominated us mentally and strategically. What do we do next?" The answer was not simple. Some advisors urged aggression, fearing humans would gain too much influence. Others suggested dialogue, realizing that attacking would only show the Empire's weakness. In that moment, the Empire had a choice: continue with old prejudices, or recognize humans for what they truly were. Elena watched silently. The humans had made their point. Every maneuver, every calculation, every act of restraint had demonstrated a new reality. Humans were not weak and humans were not reckless. Humans were extraordinary. As the standoff continued, the Empire's officers began to whisper among themselves. Admiration mixed with fear, respect mingled with disbelief. The humans were showing them a future they had never imagined. A future where humans were not only capable but superior in intelligence, strategy, and ethical action. Finally, after hours of tense observation, Corran spoke, voice quiet but firm. "We will engage in dialogue. Humans have shown strength but also restraint. We must learn from this." Elena smiled faintly. "Very well. Lesson 3. Humans lead with intelligence, courage, and ethics. They are not conquerors but problem solvers, and that makes them unstoppable." As the Intrepid slowly moved away, maintaining a safe distance, the Empire realized something profound. The humans had won, not by destroying fleets, not by firing weapons, but by demonstrating the power of the mind, strategy, and moral courage. For the first time in generations, the Empire felt truly challenged, not by numbers, not by strength, but by humanity itself. And everyone knew the galaxy would never be the same. Elena looked out into the stars, her calm expression reflecting confidence and determination. "This is only the beginning," she whispered. "They will understand soon. Humans are not just survivors. We are a force of reason, courage, and ingenuity, and no one, not even the greatest empire, can ignore that." The edge of the Imperial sector was quiet again, but the tension remained. Admiral Corran had ordered a temporary ceasefire, and the Empire's fleet maintained formation around the human warship, the Intrepid. What had begun as fear and confusion now shifted slowly toward curiosity and even respect. Captain Elena Mercer observed the Imperial fleet carefully. Humans had proven their strength, intelligence, and restraint, yet she knew the real test had only begun. The Empire's curiosity was strong, but its skepticism ran deeper. To earn trust, humans would need more than clever maneuvers. They would need action that proved their worth beyond combat skills. "Rin," Elena said, glancing at her tactical officer, "we've demonstrated defense and strategy. Now it's time to show them humans can solve problems under pressure, and ethically. We will offer assistance that no one else can." Lieutenant Rin nodded. "I've already scanned nearby systems. There's one with a colony in trouble. Sensors show a rogue fleet attempting to raid it. It's within range, but we'd have to coordinate with the Empire to avoid conflict." Elena smiled faintly. "Exactly the opportunity. Send a message to Admiral Corran. We propose a joint mission, humans and Imperial fleets working together to protect the colony." The message reached the Empire within moments. A council convened aboard the Dread Sovereign. Some officers were skeptical. "Why should we accept help from humans?" one asked. "They are unpredictable, they could take control." Others disagreed. "We have seen their precision, their intelligence, their ethical standards. If we refuse, we risk failure and embarrassment. Humans may be the best chance to save the colony." Corran weighed the arguments carefully. He understood the risk, but also recognized the potential. Finally, he made his decision. "Prepare a small fleet for joint operation with the humans. We will observe, cooperate, and assess their methods. But remain cautious." Elena received the reply and nodded to her crew. "This is our chance to prove humans are more than capable. Remember, we lead with strategy and ethics. Protect, never harm unnecessarily." The journey to the colony was tense. Imperial ships moved in formation, but humans coordinated everything with remarkable precision. They shared navigational data, optimized shield frequencies, and calculated approach vectors to avoid hazards. The humans' ability to think ahead impressed even the most skeptical Imperial officers. As the fleet approached the colony, alarms sounded. The rogue fleet had begun its attack. Imperial ships fired defensive barrages, but it was clear they struggled against the enemy's unconventional tactics. Elena activated the Intrepid systems. With calm precision, humans analyzed the enemy maneuvers and predicted their next moves. Using calculated energy pulses and non-destructive disabling fields, they neutralized key weapons of the rogue ships without harming crews. Imperial officers watched in awe as humans avoided unnecessary destruction while still achieving full tactical advantage. "This is incredible," muttered Raul. "They're saving lives while neutralizing threats. All at once." Elena spoke over the universal channel to Koran. "Admiral, we suggest a coordinated maneuver. Your cruisers provide coverage while humans disable weapons. The colony remains unharmed, and rogue forces are contained." Koran hesitated, then gave the order. Imperial fleets followed the human instructions. Every move was calculated, precise, and successful. Rogue ships were incapacitated without loss of life, and the colony remained intact. Imperial officers whispered among themselves. Some were shocked, others were impressed. One young officer finally said aloud, "Humans, they think differently, faster, smarter, and morally. They could have destroyed the enemy completely, yet they chose a better way." Elena watched quietly. "That is the point," she said to her crew. "Humans are capable of more than force. We lead with reason, ethics, and intelligence. That is what makes us strong." After the operation, the rogue fleet retreated. The colony celebrated the humans and the Imperial fleet together, marking the first time humans were recognized openly by an Imperial system. Imperial officers began to understand that humans were not reckless or violent. They were disciplined, ethical, and exceptionally capable. Koran convened a debrief with his officers. "We have witnessed humans in action," he said. "They have demonstrated intelligence, courage, and moral judgment. Their methods are efficient and effective beyond our understanding. We must acknowledge their worth." Despite their growing respect, not all Imperial leaders were convinced. Some plotted to learn humans' technology secretly, fearing that humans would dominate the Empire. Elena, anticipating this, had prepared countermeasures. Her crew monitored all Imperial communications and movements carefully, ensuring no trickery could succeed. "Captain," Rin said, "sensors detect a small Imperial faction attempting unauthorized access to our systems." Elena's expression was calm. "Intercept and neutralize, without alerting them directly. Humans solve problems without creating enemies unnecessarily." Within moments, the attempt was foiled. The humans had subtly rerouted systems and protected sensitive data without confrontation. Imperial officers monitoring the failed breach were confused, realizing that the humans' intelligence extended beyond the battlefield. They were also guardians of integrity and ethics. Afterward, Elena addressed the Empire's fleet directly. "We are capable of strength, strategy, and defense. But humans are also guided by ethics and responsibility. We do not conquer or exploit. We solve problems, protect lives, and act with reason. Those who work with humans will find cooperation, not conflict, leads to greater success." The effect on the Imperial fleet was profound. Officers who had once doubted humans now regarded them with awe. Pilots and engineers, even skeptical admirals, began to understand that humans' power lay not only in technology, but also in intellect, morality, and teamwork. Koran, quietly observing from the bridge, realized the truth. Humans were extraordinary. They were not simply capable warriors. They were innovators, problem solvers, and leaders. Humans had changed the Empire's understanding of intelligence, strategy, and ethics in a single operation. As the fleets returned from the mission, the human crew remained calm but satisfied. They had achieved more than tactical victory. They had earned respect and established trust. Elena knew the Empire would never forget this demonstration. "This is only the beginning," she said softly to her crew. "Humans have shown the Empire what we are capable of, but the galaxy will continue to test us. Every challenge is an opportunity to prove that humans excel not just with force but with intelligence, courage, and morality." The Imperial officers discussed the operation long after it ended. Whispered conversations filled the fleet. Humans are not only strong, they are wise. They act with reason and ethics. They are unlike anything we have seen. Corran, despite his pride in the Empire, could not hide the truth from himself. Humans had demonstrated that their strength was not just in weapons or numbers. It was in their mind, their discipline, and their sense of responsibility. And somewhere aboard the Intrepid, Elena smiled, the humans had done more than survive the Empire's scrutiny. They had set a standard that the galaxy would soon recognize. A standard of courage, intelligence, and ethical strength that no empire could ignore. The stars shone brightly as the fleet separated, each returning to their respective sectors. The Empire had witnessed humans at their best, disciplined, capable, ethical, and utterly extraordinary. Humans had proven their worth, and the galaxy had begun to understand that the human race was not to be underestimated. The Imperial fleet returned to its main station, still abuzz from the recent events. Officers and engineers whispered in disbelief, admiration, and cautious respect. Humans had done more than survive. They had demonstrated intelligence, strategy, and ethics that no one in the Empire had fully anticipated. Admiral Corran stood quietly on the bridge of the Dread Sovereign, contemplating the implications. "Sir," Lieutenant Ryal said, pointing to the communications console, "humans are requesting a meeting. They want to discuss further cooperation and long-term strategies." Corran nodded slowly. "Arrange it. We need to understand their intentions fully, and we need to acknowledge their contributions." Meanwhile, aboard the Intrepid, Captain Elena Mercer prepared her crew for the meeting. "Remember," she said calmly, "we are not here to dominate. We are here to show humans can lead with intelligence, morality, and strategy. Our actions must reflect that." The meeting took place aboard a neutral orbital station, a small facility in the outer rim. Imperial leaders gathered, their expressions, a mixture of caution, curiosity, and lingering disbelief. The humans arrived in the Intrepid, their ship sleek, polished, and commanding respect without any show of force. Elena stepped forward, her presence calm but authoritative. "Thank you for meeting with us," she began. "Humans have proven we can work with others to achieve outcomes that are efficient, ethical, and effective. We do not seek conflict, only cooperation." Imperial commanders listened intently. Some still struggled with pride, unwilling to admit fully that humans were exceptional. But even they could not ignore the results of the recent mission. A rogue fleet neutralized without casualties, the colony saved, and Imperial fleets guided with intelligence and precision. Corran cleared his throat. "Captain Mercer, your crew, has shown us capabilities we did not expect. Your people think and act in ways that are extraordinary. We must acknowledge that humans are more than what history and prejudice have led us to believe." Elena nodded politely. "We appreciate your recognition. Humans have always relied on intelligence, ethics, and courage. We do not seek to conquer or control, but to contribute to a safer, more just galaxy." The conversation shifted to strategy and cooperation. Humans shared knowledge of navigation, engineering, and defense techniques. Imperial officers asked questions eagerly, realizing that working with humans offered opportunities for improvement and advancement they had never imagined. One young officer spoke up, clearly inspired. "Captain Mercer, your methods are revolutionary. The way humans coordinate and protect without relying solely on weapon, it's something we have never seen." Elena smiled. "That is the way humans have survived and thrived. We value lives, strategy, and ethics equally. Strength alone is not enough. It must be guided by reason and moral judgment. The discussions continued for hours. Humans demonstrated small devices that enhanced fleet coordination, shield management, and predictive defense systems. Imperial officers were amazed. Every system presented showed careful planning, precise calculation, and a deep understanding of ethics in decision-making. Even those who had initially doubted humans began to see the truth. Humans were capable of leadership and innovation beyond expectation. After the meeting, Koran convened his senior officers. Humans have proven their worth beyond doubt. They are not just a force to be reckoned with, they are a standard of intelligence, ethics, and courage. We must respect them, learn from them, and cooperate where possible. Some officers murmured in agreement, others in quiet disbelief. But the change was undeniable. The Empire had faced humans and emerged with a new understanding. Humans were extraordinary, and they deserved recognition. Back on the Intrepid, Elena debriefed her crew. We have achieved more than tactical success. We have earned respect, trust, and a place in the galaxy's larger stage. But our work is not finished. There will be other systems, other fleets, other challenges. Humans will continue to lead not with destruction, but with intelligence, courage, and ethics. Lieutenant Rin smiled. Captain, the Empire seems genuinely impressed. Even those who were skeptical now acknowledge our capabilities. Elena nodded. Yes, that is the power of humans. Quiet strength, intelligence, and moral courage. Our actions speak louder than words, always. In the days that followed, humans worked with Imperial engineers and strategists to implement systems that improved fleet coordination and safety. Imperial officers observed and learned, sometimes reluctantly, that humans were capable of solutions they had never imagined. News of humans' accomplishments spread quickly through the Empire. Reports reached distant star systems, inspiring whispers among officials and citizens alike. Humans are extraordinary. They act with intelligence, strategy, and ethics. They are unlike any species we have encountered. Even the general population began to see humans not as primitive outsiders, but as remarkable allies and problem solvers. Stories of the Intrepid's calm, ethical, and brilliant actions circulated throughout the sectors, building admiration and respect. Koran observed the effects quietly. For the first time, he felt genuine respect for humans, not just fear or caution. They had not dominated with brute force, they had dominated with intelligence, courage, and morality. That was a lesson the Empire would not forget. Elena prepared to depart from the Imperial sector. Her mission was complete. Humans had proven themselves, earned recognition, and begun a new era of cooperation. But she knew that more challenges awaited, and the galaxy would continue to test humans' ingenuity and ethics. Before leaving, she addressed the Empire one final time over the Universal Channel. Humans will continue to explore, protect, and innovate. We act with intelligence, courage, and responsibility. We do not conquer, we contribute. Recognize this, and you will find humanity a worthy partner. Underestimate us, and you will learn the same lesson the galaxy has learned today. Humans are extraordinary. The Imperial fleet watched the Intrepid glide smoothly into the void, its engines silent, its presence commanding. For the first time in generations, humans had not only survived an encounter with the Empire, they had earned its respect, admiration, and trust. Koran stood quietly on the bridge, reflecting on the events. This changes everything, he murmured. Humans. They are not just survivors. They are leaders, thinkers, and problem solvers. The galaxy will never be the same. Across the void, the Intrepid continued its journey, the stars stretching endlessly ahead. Humans had proven their worth, reshaping the galaxy's understanding of intelligence, courage, and morality. The Empire had learned to respect humans, not through fear but through admiration of their ingenuity, ethics, and strength. Elena Mercer looked out at the stars, calm, determined, and proud. This is only the beginning, she whispered. Humans will continue to explore, protect, and inspire. The galaxy may have doubted us before, but it will never doubt again. As the Intrepid disappeared into the distant reaches of space, whispers spread across the Empire. Impossible. That's a human warship. And they are truly remarkable. For the first time, the galaxy understood what humans had always known. Intelligence, courage, and ethics were more powerful than weapons alone, and humans embodied them fully. The stars shimmered, carrying the message far and wide. Humans were not just survivors of the galaxy, they were a force of reason, strategy, and morality, and the galaxy would never forget it.